Hello, friends. We are doing the Constitution of India and we are starting with the preamble of the Constitution. The starting line of the preamble is We, the people of India. And today we will be doing the nature of Indian state as mentioned in the Constitution. So there are five characteristics of Indian state. The state will be sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. So we are going to see these five characteristics. And I have clubbed We the People of India and Sovereign together. There is a reason behind it. Now let's begin this topic. The cabinet mission came to India in 1946. Now its mandate was how to transfer the power to the Indians. It proposed elections. Elections happened and we chose our own representatives. These representatives formed the Constituent Assembly, which for the first time met on 9th of December 1946, and it concluded and finished the making of the Constitution on 26th November 1949 when India's Constitution was adopted. This date is mentioned in the preamble, and we made a Constitution. So what I'm trying to say is that the Constitution was direct result of the cabinet mission. This can be asked as an MCQ. Second point, and the important point that I'm making, is we the people of India gave to ourselves our Constitution through our representatives whom we ourselves chose. So this much is clear to you, and therefore we the people of India becomes important. Now what about sovereign? A state is sovereign, and this is very important line. A state is sovereign when there resides within itself a supreme absolute power. These three words are the most important: acknowledging no superior. Now within the state there resides a power which is supreme. And now supreme means there is no other power which is higher than that power, and absolute power means unchecked power. There is no other institution to check the power of that supreme power. So I'll give you an example of monarchy. In a monarch, say for example Akbar in case of India or Louis the 14th in case of France, which other institution is supreme to the monarch? No other institution. Which institution checks on the power of monarch? No other institution. Therefore, sovereignty resided with the monarchy in a monarchical form of government. The monarch was supreme and absolute. Is the President of India sovereign? Now, we see that the President almost always acts in the aid and advice of the Prime Minister of India. So, he is not sovereign. The second thing is that the President is chosen by the people. So he is not sovereign, he is not supreme. Though he may be supreme, but he is not sovereign. Prime Minister of India, the Prime Minister of India, is he sovereign? So we find that he is not supreme. Why is he not supreme? Because President is superior to him. And is he absolute? Now we find that he heads the executive branch of the government, whereas there is a legislature also, and which makes the law, and there is judiciary also. So there is a check on the power of the Prime Minister, and therefore this institution is also not sovereign. And he ultimately is chosen by the people. So both President and Prime Minister are chosen by the people. President is chosen indirectly, Prime Minister is chosen directly. Therefore, it is we, the people of India, who are actually sovereign, and therefore I combine these two together. So I hope this thing must be clear to you. Just to give a quick another example, during the Cold War, the world was divided into two blocks: the Western bloc headed by USA and the Eastern bloc headed by USSR. So Poland and Hungary, I've given you two examples of the Eastern Bloc countries. They were not sovereign because they were taking orders from Moscow for their internal task and for their foreign policy as well. So they were completely non-sovereign. India, on the other hand, chose non-aligned movement, not joining either of the blocs. And therefore, we retained our sovereignty, which was a very important principle and the first principle of the nature of government in our preamble. So I hope this much is clear to you. Now we are going to socialist. Now important thing is that the word socialist was added from the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 during the time of emergency. There were two other words that were added: socialist, secular, and integrity, which we are going to see later on. Now liberalism is a political theory that talks of political equality. So that means one person, one vote, or any person can stand for any post, including the post of Prime Minister or the President. So this is liberal theory. However, socialism goes one step further, and it talks about not only social equality, but it talks about, more importantly, economic equality. So, for example, they are against zamindari class and pro peasant class, giving the land to the peasants, giving them easy loans, etc. They are pro labor class and against capitalist class. So they talk of higher income for the labor class, bonus, Sunday holiday, insurance, pensions, etc. And even though in the original constitution there was no word like socialist, but Nehru, our first prime minister, was a strong socialist. And he did not like capitalist class, whom he called the modern czars. Czars were the kings of Russia, and they represented the exploitative class, exploitation of peasants, labor, and poor people. So Nehru was a very strong socialist, and throughout the constitution, the socialism still is there. Nehru was inspired by USSR. USSR was a socialist country. Every sector of the economy was under government control. However, we did not adopt straight away the USSR model. We modified it and we introduced the mixed economy wherein the core sectors like heavy industries and defense were under government control, but then other sectors were open to the private players as well. However, from 1991 onwards, socialism has gone into the back foot. We have adopted liberalization, privatization, and globalization policy for economic growth. Now, the control is not from the government, but the market controls the economy. However, as far as the poor people are concerned, the state has transformed itself into a welfare state, and we have got employment generation and poverty alleviation programs like Manrega for the poor section of the population. So, we finished socialist as well, and we'll continue secularism in our next video. Thank you.